The StarCraft saga has meant a great deal to Blizzard. We've been working on this thing a long time.
Blizzard is where we are today because of the RTS genre. It is part of our history. World of Warcraft came from an RTS. You know, StarCraft, the best RTS ever.
We had just finished Warcraft 2. We said to ourselves, wouldn't it be awesome to create a real-time strategy game in a gritty science fiction universe?
The first opportunity to show off our new game, we hadn't been working on it for very long. We showed it and players were underwhelmed.
Orcs in space.
The Orcs in Space build.
Orcs in space. It didn't look very good.
That lukewarm response really galvanized us to go back to formula, to make sure that we were building something that we could be totally proud of.
We basically gutted the entire engine, and Bob locked himself in his office for a little while and basically came up with this new version of the engine which could do a ton more stuff.
Our design philosophy for StarCraft 1 was just concentrate the coolness.
Was definitely an illustration of one of our deepest held values. We're not going to quit until the thing is right.
We knew it was going to be an awesome game. We loved it. We had a feeling that the world would love it. We didn't know that they would actually build a sporting event around it.
StarCraft 1 was definitely the start of real legitimate esports.
I'd see what was going on in Korea, people filling up stadiums to watch the game. I thought, wow, this is really changing gaming.
When I first heard that people were going to come and watch other people play a video game, I thought that was one of the craziest things I'd ever heard of. Surrounded by hundreds or even thousands of like-minded gamers, all watching this incredible action on the screen in front of you. It's one of the most intense experiences you can possibly have.
The esports scene has gotten bigger. You have bigger crowds, bigger viewership, bigger venues. Everything has just scaled so much, and it all started with StarCraft.
Are you ready for StarCraft 2?
The most beautiful thing about StarCraft is the community that has built up around it and the passion for the franchise, for esports. Legacy of the Void is for you.
It has been a long road to close out this story with an amazing game.
The exciting part is that Legacy of the Void won't truly be what it is for several years to come as we work with the community, play games, participate in esports, and learn. This is where we can get to the Blizzard chess that StarCraft 2 ultimately can be.
Blizzard made StarCraft. Everyone who loves and follows the game has made StarCraft as it is today.
The most important part of it is the community, the people who play the games, who love them. We're one giant family.
Blizzcon is a moment in time where thousands and thousands of players come together, all understanding the same things, all with our unique perspectives, all bound together by a shared experience of whatever game you've come to celebrate.
Where better to celebrate the talent of our players than at Blizzcon?
Where better to celebrate the passion,
The triumph.
The cosplayers.
Esports.
The World Championship of StarCraft.
Perfect marine micro.
Where better to celebrate community than at BlizzCon?
We've had a lot of amazing games and amazing matches.
Some people definitely got nervous, and it was very interesting to see how it all went down.
This is what esports is all about. High-level competition by world-class players.
And this is a massive move, but he's not content. As Lilbell enters the main with just a Nexus kill. He walks away. This has been unbelievable performance by Bolt. Nice force fields, pinning those roaches. He knows it. He knows it's good. GG.
Over the course of several incredible matches, we have the finest Hearthstone players.
And that's going to do it. Life Coach is going to BlizzCon. Really excited to see the conclusion of all these events. It's been a long journey.
Purple is your America's champion for 2015. So you're going to see a ton of new cards that are going to affect players' hero power. Come, you attacked into it.
Welcome to the World of Warcraft Road to BlizzCon.
They pop the Shadow Dance. Wealthy Man is down to 30. He gets deeped on his Nature Strength. I don't even think they need the polymorph.
I am so excited for BlizzCon now with all these great teams qualifying.
That was an amazing game. What a great series.
He's going to get executed. They brought their A game. Solari Blue winning this series. Excellent job.
This is the moment.
This is for the pride. They are the best.
We're here at the finals.
These games, they were so epic. They are looking strong.
Tempo Storm score. It's going down. Wow, what a fantastic series.
Those teams qualifying, I feel like they're two of the teams to shine at Blizzcon against the other regions.
We are here for the European road to Blizzcon. It looks like this could be a hit. They're going to run it onto the core. Is this Navi taking the clean sweep as they finish?
We always want to find out who really is the best at the end of the day.
We look forward to seeing you at BlizzCon.
BlizzCon, BlizzCon, BlizzCon. Welcome to the hype train. That's just a little something I threw together out of existing stuff, obviously. It would have been longer, but it was already going long as it was. So, today is Saturday, not Friday. We're running a day late. It is October the 14th, 2015, and this is take 2 of Epic Fail number 38.
You are now listening to the Epic Fail Podcast.
Greetings and welcome to the Epic Fail Podcast. I am the host who will randomly go into the same thing over and over for the voices. Draven Dresden. With me as always, co-conductor to the Fail Train. We have purposely not talked a whole lot in the past couple of weeks, so we're kind of going to be catching up on our own too. BlizzCon happened obviously, so yeah, fun times. For me anyway, I don't know about them. I had a fun filled week. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. First up, all the way from the country of Canada, Scarlett, how are you and what have you been up to for the past 2 weeks?
Hi. I've been pretty busy actually. One of my coworkers came back to the game, so I've been busy not totally helping them level. I haven't actually really helped them level except do a dungeon. But that gives me a question to ask our viewers, and you guys can write in and tell me, how much do I guide a new person in playing WoW? As in, and if my coworker is watching this, I love you to death, but he boosted to 90 because he bought Draenor. And we go in a dungeon, and there was barrage everywhere. And there was pulling everything, and growl, and I didn't say anything because I didn't know how not to say it and not discourage someone from playing. So, love the eagerness, but I just foresee some dungeon kickings if I don't actually tell him. So how do I tell my coworker, I'm glad you're so eager to play the game, but I gotta teach you a few things about not being a hunter. That was kind of funny. Like, there was barrage everywhere. It was so... We went into flag mines, and like all the ogres, like there was ogres, and all the ogres and the skippable ogres, we killed all the ogres. So, yeah. That's been...
I would go with, hey, dude, dial it back a couple notches.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I will figure out how to say that.
Yep. All right. And then, all the way from the land of Wish I Was at BlizzCon, we have Theory. How have you been this last couple weeks?
Well, I've been pretty good. Finally got my internet to work right. Luckily, I watched MacGyver as a child, so I learned how to use duct tape and paper clips very well. An occasional piece of chewing gum, put it all together. Yes, no. First off, this week, I just wanted to say, okay, Tampa Bay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just take that off and put that right over there. And that's for Zarky, who said I need to stop wearing Tampa Bay hats because they're so awful on the show. So there you go, buddy. I took it off specifically just for you. Now, this week has been a pretty good week. After the BlizzCon of here's everything you want and everything you've been asking for, and we're going to give it to you as soon as possible, except for that expansion, which is coming sometime. It's been a really, really solid week. I mean, I've been having fun. We just found out some really cool news that we'll talk about later about the patch coming a little bit sooner than a lot of people were expecting. So we'll get to that in a little bit too. Also played a little bit of Hearthstone. Tavern Brawl this week was pretty fun. But it's been a good week. How about you?
For me, I've honestly been out of games for the most part because I've been trying to catch up on all the crap at BlizzCon I didn't have time to see. We'll get into that here shortly, but quick short story because we've been going on and on about a particular first-person shooter that we've all wanted to get into. I'll go ahead and throw it in now. Right before opening ceremonies, I was way up front, near the front, but the seats I got were way in the back and behind stuff, and a friend of mine actually had shown up. I forgot they were even going to be there. And so we were sitting near the back together, and I'm like, I'm thirsty, save my seat, I'll grab us something to drink, or, you know, Pepsi and stuff like that. So I go back, and, you know, there's this couple, I thought, a couple, in front of me. And, you know, we're there, we're all, yeah, opening ceremonies, yay, all that fun stuff. And so I just start talking to them because they're, you know, talking about stuff, and I just pop in, and, oh, yeah, I play that one, and all that fun stuff. A couple minutes later, we're going back and forth, and the guy asks me about Overwatch and what I think about it. I'm like, I think I want to play it, but I'm not in the beta. He's like, oh, okay. And I tell him, you know, Reaper, that's my jam right there if I can get in, and all this other fun stuff. And obviously I'm going to try the other characters and all that. Well, there's literally like 3 people in line in front of me, and he hands me this freaking huge phone. He's like, type your email in, I will flag your account. And then he pops his Blizzard employee badge up at me so I can see it. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? He's like, no, go ahead and put it in. So I type it in, and he looks at it. I was like, this is what your account's like? I'm like, yeah. Okay. Keep in mind, it might take up to 24 hours after Monday. So you might, you know, by Tuesday. So I'm like, if you're not pulling my leg, dude, you're my favorite person ever. So Monday comes around. I have no Overwatch beta, and I start getting sad. But I remember he said it could take up to 24 hours. At noon on Tuesday, my BattleNet restarts. I'm like, okay, well, it's been doing that all week. I happen to go down, click check, and I see the install button. I'm like, dude, I don't remember your name, but I love you. Install. So I am now officially in the Overwatch beta, and I can safely say, which I already knew, I suck at first-person shooters. And also, Bastion is freaking overpowered. He needs nerfed hard.
So you couldn't get our emails and type those in?
He did not ask. I didn't want to push my luck.
Gotta type fast. Type fast.
Yeah.
On his very big phone, which was probably an iPhone 6 Plus. Very, very fast. And you've been done.
Yeah, it was freaking huge. But
I have a theory.
Yeah.
Not that theory, an actual theory.
You have a hypothesis.
Yes. Maybe you met that certain, person we assume raids with us sometimes on certain teams.
I cannot divulge who that person is. But that is not the same person that I met in the line.
Did you tell that person that you did a podcast?
Actually, no. It never came up.
Okay, well that's like fail 3 and 4. I'm just throwing it out there. One.
That's probably closer to 12, but yeah.
Oh.
No, it was one of those things. I did not go trying to pimp us out, especially at the Blizzard people. But I know.
That's the exact people that you should.
I know. So that's probably up to fail 27 now.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, but it was my first convention ever. Like, not even a minor one here local. It was ever. So I was still in that whole overwhelmed by so many people stage.
I can understand that, dude, but like, I gotta admit, I wouldn't know you guys' email addresses to type it in either if the same thing happened to me. But I think I would at least said, hey, and you got to check out this podcast. I got these 2 really cool people. Well, you might think they're cool that I do this podcast with, and they want to play Overwatch too.
I was just, like I said, I was so overwhelmed with so many people. Actually, I arrived Wednesday night, and the worst of it happened like an hour and a half after I got to the Hilton Hotel. I actually had to leave for like 15, 20 minutes because there were too many people. I was like, ugh.
I saw some aerial like photos like from up above, looked like a balcony or something. It would look pretty packed.
Yeah.
There was one that was kind of funny where it was zoomed out and it looked like it was probably a good like 400 people, maybe more, in this small area, and there was a little dot with a circle around it, and it was our boy, our favorite Mr. I know everything about Blizzard guy, just standing there in the middle of all those people.
Yeah. Yeah, right, we'll just go ahead and go straight into the BlizzCon news here. I'm not even going to call it BattleNet or Blizzard news. It's just going to be pure BlizzCon, so yeah. Yeah, I got there Wednesday night. I think I showed you guys some pictures. I got pictures with Lore, Celestalon. I ended up passing Noble, how do you say his name? Out on the street Thursday.
Noble.
Yeah. I mean, tons of the devs were there. It was just, they were all over the place. I didn't find Mike Morheim or Chris Metzen. There were 2 that I was hoping I would sign my poster that I had gotten. Mike B, I was hoping he was there at some point, but I never found him because I was really looking forward to a picture with him because, him and Lore were the reason I actually got into, like, raiding for real. And, playing games and all that fun stuff.
Play games?
Well,
what?
I would have been playing, but I would have been like just leveling characters, and that's about it. Because I'm like, I don't understand what raiding is. But Lore with his, tank spot stuff when he was doing it. Mike B with Legendary, Blizz Blues with Darnell. All that stuff. I would have never gotten into podcasting at all, which some would probably say that's probably a bad thing on them if I'm crediting them for me wanting to do it. But yeah, I mean,
just a little.
Yeah, it was just one of those things, find certain people. Crafticus, I found, he was so busy, so many people around him, I never did get an autograph or a picture. I feel bad, but I ran into Celestalon I don't even know how many times. He was all over the place. And all I will say about him, holy crap, his hair is purple. like there's purple, and then you see it across the room, purple.
Purple is
makes you wonder if that was special for the weekend or if that's how it always is.
Well, he changes it. He said he did it like a couple weeks ago, but he's keeping up on it and all that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, your pictures were definitely pouring the salt in that wound that is me being jelly. A lot of the people you took pictures with are the same exact people I would have died to meet. But there was a lot of kind of unexpected celebrities too. Yeah. From I was watching the CTR / Well Played party, and Slootbag was there and Trekkie was there.
I never got a picture with Trekkie, but I did manage. It was Slootbag and. What dev was it? It was one of the WoW devs. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
number 87.
Probably. Yeah, they were all standing like right behind the table towards the end of the night when Cuddles was doing his thing. Which, shout out to Cuddles, love you, buddy. Did an amazing job moderating the party. You know, if you're salty because you're not there, but you want to be a part of it, you did an amazing job, sir. Because that was me, very salty, but I kept the thing playing while I was playing games, and it was very entertaining.
Yeah. So before we get into the parties and all that, opening ceremonies, what we pretty much called half of it. We called pretty much a bookend with the WoW and the movie. I was honestly expecting it to be the other way, with WoW first and then the movie last. But
so I want to point something out as far as, like, I wasn't going to bring this up.
Go ahead.
But do you remember the weekend before I went to the Chris Cornell concert and I kind of jumped in the chat room towards the end of the night and you guys were making predictions?
Yeah.
What was the thing that I said that you disagreed with?
You say so much that I disagree with that I can't remember.
Good point. But I said StarCraft next. And what did they announce?
Missions.
They announced what they're going to do next with StarCraft.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So pretty much everything that I think I said, except for I said the Hearthstone expansion, and it's not really an expansion. It's the other thing, which is an expansion. It's not really an expansion. Whatever. It's the same thing.
It's a mini expansion in that there's like 7 cards or something like that. 10
Yeah,
cards.
it's still, to me, that's still an expansion, but I'm not a huge Hearthstone player, so I can understand why people would say that wasn't right. But I pretty much think we hit the nail on the head for almost everything except the date for WoW.
Yeah. But what about you, Scarlett? What did you find most notable, we'll call it that, from opening ceremonies?
Well, I couldn't watch opening ceremonies fully live because, well, I was at work, and I work in a call center. So I had my headset on this ear, and I had one earbud like this, and my head is tilted so my hair hides the thing. And then I was hiding my phone in my bag every time a manager walked around because we're not supposed to have our phones out on the open. But my coworkers will tell you that I was super hyper at the trailer and I wouldn't stop pestering until they all saw it. And then they were all like, oh my God. But the trailer was amazing for the movie. And I kind of skipped through different parts because I was at work, so I didn't really listen to the StarCraft stuff as much as I wanted to. The trailer was awesome.
Yeah. To me, the entire opening ceremonies was amazing. Especially being in the room with it actually happening. The energy in the crowd was great. When they got to the Legion trailer, I mean, the movie trailer, everyone was like silent for it because after the Universal logo coming on, just everyone just shut up because they were like, we're actually watching it. And then afterwards, yeah, all that fun stuff, and everyone was cheering throughout. When you got to the WoW thing, people were you could hear people talking like, okay, just the next trailer, no big deal, until the ship was going down with Varian on it. And people were just... you could have heard a pin drop in that room. People shut up quick. They were like, did they just do that? In a cinematic? Yeah. I really wish they would have. I understand why they didn't, but I really wish they would have. And this is coming from someone who now technically mains Alliance side.
So... because of our kind of communication and thoughts behind who was going to, bite it before the next expansion, I was kind of halfway expecting him to bite it, especially when the thing hit the ship.
Mm-hmm.
My surprise was the fact that Sylvanas was there, because I really didn't think she was going to bite it. So I'm like, oh, crap, what's going on? Funny story, though. One of my buddies at work, Joe, who actually raided with us a couple times back in SOO when we used to do the Flex Raid thing, but he was watching the trailer today at work while we were on lunch, And as he came up and that scene where he closes his eyes after he grabs the rope and it goes to black, he turned around and he's like, what the crap was that? And I'm like, okay, that was amazing. That was cool. His reaction was awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, just keep watching.
Yep.
But there is a disconnect there, which bothers me a lot. You guys may have heard other people talking about this because apparently I'm not the only one that was bothered by it. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, you're dumb and you should go watch it. But when he's sinking, and you know the whole dialogue is still kind of going on, and he's sinking down in the water. It's pretty deep, right? It's pretty deep, probably at least 20, 30 feet deep at minimum. And then, you know, okay, I'm going to fight, you know, and then 2 seconds later, he's in the shallow end of the pool, jumps out, and doesn't have his enormous shoulders on. So
now, before you go on, I know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Is it possible that when he's in the deep water, we just don't see the shoulders? Because I haven't looked back at that.
In the deep water, he definitely has his shoulders on. He definitely has his shoulders on when he's sinking, like grabbing the rope, he's got the shoulders on.
Yeah.
What I think they attempted to say without really saying it is he had to take them off to get out of the water and not sink.
Yeah.
But they didn't show that. They didn't show him like cutting them or something like that. They just all of a sudden he was in the shallow end of the pool and jumped out and started kicking butt.
Yeah.
It's one of those aircraft things that can be used as a flotation device.
In case of emergency.
I don't think they were floaties. I don't think they were floaties.
Yeah.
No.
See, the reason I asked what I did was because I thought maybe they fell off whenever he, crashed.
Yeah, maybe they fell off when he hit the water. I could understand that, but as he's going down,
he still has them on.
I want to go back and look at it now, but as he's going down, I thought he still had them on.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of reaching up and still got the line.
Yeah, if he's got them on under the water still, and then when he comes back up, he doesn't have them on, all that is them saying, hey, guess what? You guys can transmog your shoulders so they don't show.
Yes, and that's kind of my thought, is that's, guess what? You can hide your shoulders now.
Yeah.
But I really feel like they should have shown just him popping them off and coming. It could have only been a half a second, but just him, like, somehow popping them off.
Or just when he's under the water, not show him then. They came off whenever he.
And maybe they fell off when he crashed, but
Yeah.
I'm literally gonna have to go back and watch that now to see if it shows it.
Yeah.
But I thought it did.
Yeah. But from what I heard, this will tie directly into like, instead of just being a cinematic, this actually is part of the story. This ties into when we hit Legion.
Yeah, they said that a lot on the virtual ticket, that this is literally the cinematic that you see as the start of the expansion happens.
Yeah. But yeah, Sylvana showing up, I was kind of surprised. What I really was hoping for, and another podcast, Azeroth Roundtable, had brought it up, and Ro brought it up a couple times too while we were out there. What if Varian died and Sylvanas raised him?
That's what
not
chat just
for
said
real.
in our.
Yeah, that would have been like cool. I mean, that's not what happened, but that would have been like, what do you do then? But yeah,
That would be an interesting thing.
Yeah. But yeah, there was only one thing about opening ceremonies I did not like, and you can ask anyone who was around me, which, don't know who they are, so you can't really ask anyone. But when they showed Overwatch Origin Edition, I was like, yeah, cool, skins! And then they showed Reaper on the screen. I literally deflated. I was like, oh.
Why?
Because I don't want to know anything about his past. I wanted the mask being...
Gotcha.
I don't want to know who he is. I mean, I knew who he was from Soldier 76's intro thing that they did. They kind of hinted at it, but they didn't say specifically. So I was like, well, we can still kind of have that little gray area and pretend. But now you can't. We know exactly who he is. And that's the one thing I was like... But and that's a me thing. A lot of people.
Well, at least you don't have to buy him separately. Like you were really worried about having to buy him separately.
Yeah, the fact that it's a box, I'm glad. I'm gonna buy the collector's edition of that too. and Legion, and I bought StarCraft's Collector's Edition, and yeah. And that Q&A, some of it I didn't really care for, but...
Which one? The WoW Q&A?
The WoW Q&A. That was... I loved it. Jesse Cox, you're a god. I don't know if that was a real question on the card or not. By the way, since we didn't actually publish the show from pre-BlizzCon due to some audio issues, some really horrible audio issues, aka couldn't hear one of us.
So that may have just been a bonus. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I might throw it out and be like, this is what it... Yeah. Cami Colo, I already contacted you about your Mount Win and all that. I did, and about the question. I'm still trying to get an answer to your question, but I did put it in the Q&A thing because they had the line to get into that was already... They said, you're not going to get to ask it on camera. They reserve basically red shirt guy gets a free spot, and then after that it's whoever shows up. But
red shirt guy is adorable.
Yeah. Okay. So I put in they had the Dark Moon Fair actually showed up, and it was more than just a vendor area. They had all kinds of cool stuff there. So that was really neat. But they had a little submit your questions in for the Q&A. So I put his question in a few times, and then while they weren't looking, I put my question in a few times also.
Were you only supposed to have one question?
Probably.
Oh.
But my question, I don't know if it was mine or not, or if he just threw it in because he could, or if a lot of people asked it. But my question quite literally was, is Jaina a Dreadlord? The last question of the Q&A, Jesse Cox just kind of looked over. Okay, guys. Is Jaina a Dreadlord? And I was like, yeah! They said no, but they were kind of being cheeky with the Q&A, so it may or may not still be.
I still think there's some story there. I don't think she's going to be an actual Dreadlord, but there's definitely some opportunities for some very creative story.
Yeah, someone told me they heard that we're not fighting her whatsoever. She is going to be a hero. Which, okay, makes sense. But I would much rather her being a Dreadlord so we can take her out. We raided Siege of Orgrimmar, and she's like the world's worst mage. Pull the mobs into this one area that I am throwing my Blizzard down, but that's the only spell I'll cast in that one specific area. Of course, Horde side, they did the same thing with, it was Flame Strike, but still. Yeah, I know. I went there.
She needs to learn new spells.
Yeah.
And maybe she needs to go fire.
That too.
Yeah. Anything else like BlizzCon for you guys virtual ticket that stood out? I know I have a couple things that stood out for me.
I gotta overall, before I say this, it was virtual ticket was very cool. It was worth the money. I'm glad I bought it, but there was times when it wasn't really working very well. For example, on day 2, the live stream of the main stage just didn't work for me the entire afternoon. When you clicked on it, it said that this stage is not live. It still had all the live competitions, even the one that was delayed forever. So like the other stages were working, but the main stage, which had a lot of the WoW information on it, you could not watch live. And the pre-recorded stuff took a while, hours before you could watch it through the virtual ticket. Is it still cool? Am I happy I paid for it? Will I do it again if I don't go next year? And even if I do, yes, absolutely. But they've got some opportunities to fix some issues there. Obviously, the 4-hour delay, there was some other technical stuff going on too.
Yeah. What about you, Scarlett? Any highlights for just BlizzCon virtual ticket overall stuff?
I really liked the Legion panel and seeing all the new zones and hubs and the weapons. I always like how they give like in-depth explanation.
I know for me, I didn't see a single panel whatsoever while I was out there. Not one. I wanted to, but there is, especially for a first-time person out there, there is so much crap to do. They really need a third day and spread this stuff out. I mean, there was like 4 different panels I wanted to see, like specifically wanted to be in the room for them, and then I wanted to see the Heroes and StarCraft tournaments both live. I saw one of them.
So hypothetically, they added extra games.
Yeah, they need to add an extra day.
Added an extra day.
Yeah.
Would you be happy with a third day with a third $100 bill attached to your price tag?
I would be okay with $50 bill added.
So you'd be okay with $250, but not $299? Because realistically, you got to think that's a lot of work to do what they're doing.
Yeah, I know, but I also know that they're making a crap ton of money already with that weekend.
True, but this is not a cash cow for them. This is an event. This is advertising. This is not let's make a ton of money.
Yeah.
No matter how much of those little stuffed craps they sell, they're not recouping what they spent on this thing there. Exactly. And which one? Yeah. So
I swore up and down I wasn't gonna get it, and then I got to the store Thursday, and I was like, I want the Abathur hat and the poster, and I want all this other stuff that I can't afford, but I want it.
So here's a question.
And just before you pop in, yes, this happened too. I knew I was gonna get this when I was there, though.
Did anybody that we know buy the Bulwark of Azeroth backpack? Because I am this close purchasing it, but I want to save up for next year BlizzCon, so I won't.
No one I know specifically bought it, but I saw at least 25 of them while I was out there.
I would have.
I was this close to get it, and then I saw the price tag attached. I was like, no.
And try converting that into Canadian dollars, and
There's
then
no
add
such thing as
shipping and
Canadian.
handling.
There's no such thing as Canadian
shipping
dollars.
and handling, and the stupid import tax that FedEx charges. So that would be close to 2 bills for me.
Yeah. Well,
if I bought it, but
chances are it'll still be there next year. So just go next year, pay the $100 US, and carry it.
It might even go on sale.
It might go on sale.
Maybe
it's on the store now. So which it wasn't prior to BlizzCon.
Yeah, they added it like the day before.
Yeah, when the store actually opened. Yeah. They had the little cinder kitten wavy thingy.
Yeah, the one that you apparently are not supposed to lick. Did you read
Wait,
the
what?
disclaimer on that? The cinder kitten that waves, and then there's another one that's very similar to that. Draven's like face planting.
Why? I don't know what's worse. The fact that the disclaimer exists to begin with, or that enough people did that they needed to put the disclaimer there.
So apparently these are imported, and the materials that they used making it are toxic. So they have to have a disclaimer on it so that somebody doesn't, suck on it and then bite a big one. So yeah, it's kind of, I found that very, very humorous. I wouldn't have bought it anyway, but as I was on the store and I'm reading that, I'm like, why do they even have it on here if it's made out of toxic substances?
Okay.
Well, I know the backpack.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I know the backpack had a disclaimer on it because I think by law, California has to say something about vinyl products. The Heroes of the Storm duffel bag thingy had a disclaimer on it, but I was reading online, it's only because it's vinyl and California says they have to.
Yeah.
That's different than these ones.
Yeah, I grabbed the BlizzCon poster, the T-shirt, because I had to. I got the BlizzCon pin. It was only $10. Again, I felt the need. I had to. And then I was going back and forth between the duffel bag for Heroes and the Overwatch backpack. And honestly, what it came down to was I thought that the backpack would be more practical for the weekend, so that's what I grabbed. So yeah, I
True, probably.
Yeah. So I have a backpack. Yeah, my little minifigure, that you don't know who's in it thing, I got Chef Stitches, which is apparently the rarest of all of them.
Congrats.
Yeah, so next year when they put more of them out, I'm going to take him back with me, and depending on what they have available, I might trade him for something else. But if he's the rarest one out of the ones that are out now, I was like, nah, I'm going to keep this one.
I got Diablo.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were getting regular Stitches. Like, a lot of people were getting regular Stitches. And someone saw that I got, oh, you got Stitches. I was like, yeah, but it's Chef Stitches. And they're like, I hate you. Because apparently that's one of the rares out of the set. So.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So when you go to BlizzCon, how do you get your BlizzCon goodie bag? Do you have to line up and get it, or like?
All right. So I got there Wednesday night, and then once I got settled at the hotel, that whole other story there. But once I got settled at the hotel, I had to walk about a mile, maybe half a mile, from where I was to the Hilton Bar, which is like literally right outside. We hung out for a bit, blah, blah, blah. Next day, go back. The line, I got there at like 7 in the morning, even though the line they weren't letting people in until like 9. But I wanted it done. I presumed the line for the store was going to be awful. And it was. For anyone who had the app on their phone for BlizzCon and it said 105 minutes, yeah, double that maybe. I got there at 8. In the door, the ticket part, when you register to get your actual BlizzCon badge, not the ones that you get made, you have to have the real badge too. That was no problem. You get your bag at the same time you get your registered ticket. You get your ticket, they go get your bag, no problem.
Goodie bag.
Your goodie bag, no problem. After that, on your way out, that you go straight outside or you make a right into the store area, and it was just one big, huge area. They had 37 to 45, somewhere around registers going. Nothing but people getting stuff.
So, was there anything at the store that wasn't online?
Not that I know of.
Then I'm going to go with Cuddles on this one and just order my crap and not stand in that line.
Well, the thing of it is some of the stuff that was in the store wasn't online until that day, and I didn't check that day. The big disappointment in the store for me was the actual autograph book. I didn't buy it ahead of time because I presumed I could get it there. Yeah, that didn't happen. They didn't have them. So, since I'm already planning on going next year, I'm just going to order one, whenever I make my next online purchase.
What you should do, friend, you have all these amazing pictures with these amazing people. Just actually put the pictures into a photo album and have them sign the pictures next year.
Yeah. Well, I don't have printouts of these pictures. They're digital. I'd have to print them out.
Go to Walgreens or any other place like that.
I'm aware of this. I'm already planning on doing that for something else.
There you go. That's much cooler than an autograph book.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. But yeah, speaking of pictures, myself and Ro separately got to corner Ian Hazacostas, Watcher. Ro had a press pass, so he got to do it earlier in the week. He did it earlier, I think Thursday, maybe early Friday. I didn't get a hold of him until the Well Played party Friday night. And I knew what I was going to ask was going to be a little bit odd and take a couple minutes. So I let like 20 people, even though I was standing there, I let like 20 people go ahead in front of me. And he's like, "You've been standing here for a while. What what were you wanting? I was like, I knew it was going to take a while, so I was letting a lot of people go. I was like, I have 3 small things I was going to ask. I was like, picture, sign my poster, and then one that might be a little weird, but it's not weird for me. And he's like, okay, no problem. Got the picture. He signed the poster, which I ended up getting, I think, 11 Blizzard devs whose face I would recognize. That's who I was aiming for.
That's cool.
The faces that I would know.
Cool.
Yeah. Celestalon signed Illidan's nipple. Even better. Celestalon is the guy who originally wrote the RAR program for min-maxing. His signature is RAR. He's like, I always sign this.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Really funny.
Yeah. So that was cool. But anyway, getting back to Ian Hazukosis, I was like, he's like, okay, these 2 are done. What's this other one? I was like, so I told this person who does this podcast, and he's like, he just closes his eyes. He knows what's going to happen. He's like, uh-huh. I was like, name's Thist of the Lagging Balls podcast. I was like, I'm aware of her. I was like, she has this huge, like, massive crush on you, and I told her if I had the chance, I would have you sign something specifically to her. He's like, okay. So I had something, and I didn't have anything that was blank. So the person who was behind the merch table right there had just a plain piece of paper. And I was like, that works. He had a Sharpie with him because I just gave him one. And he just starts signing on it. He's like, to Thist. And he's like, I think it was, I really appreciate the very underlined kind words. No, really. And then he put his name down. And as he's doing that, I took like 3 pictures of him actually signing it. And then I took a picture of it being done. And I sent it to her, like, for tweets. And holy crap, she was like, yeah.
So, did you catch their podcast this week?
Yes. Ro did the same thing, only with audio. Yeah.
So
I think she appreciates it.
Yeah. And I already told her I get paid Thursday, this upcoming. I'm going to mail it out. I'm going to frame it. It's not going to be a great frame, but it's going to be framed. And then I told her there's an extra little surprise in there that I haven't told her about. And because I know she's going to listen to this, because I told her I was going to talk about this, I'm not going to say what it is. But I will. I told her it's nothing huge.
You'll have to tell us later.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys afterwards.
So,
it's nothing huge, but
if there's a lock of hair in their fist,
it's not. I told her I wasn't.
Immediately throw it away.
I already told her I'm not doing a Penny Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. That would be creepy.
So I was listening to their podcast on my way home from work, and I was using these headphones. I'm pretty sure the person next to me thought I was listening to porn. I got some strange looks.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
She did get really, really excited. It was very good.
This is
funny.
This is the actual piece of paper, Thist. I'm holding the actual piece of paper. So yeah.
It's backwards on the screen, but yeah.
It's backwards on the screen. You know, what are you going to do? But it's there. She already knows what it looks like. It's getting mailed out this upcoming Thursday. After it'll get a nice little frame on it. And then the extra little surprise that I haven't mentioned to anyone yet. But yeah. Just for you guys, supposedly I met Howland. I won't go into details as to who he is, but someone was claiming to be Howland.
Howland!
Yeah.
We love you!
Yeah.
Long time.
That being said, before I actually met Howland, I actually got a chance to talk to Celestalon. And I was like, okay, I'm in these 2 raid groups. And he's like, uh-huh. And we have an ongoing joke with one of the members, because they never talk. And the ongoing joke is that it's Mumper. And he just kind of like, okay. I was like, I don't want to know who it is out of any of you guys, if it is. But is it one of you guys? And he just kind of laughs. He's like, I don't know, man.
You can't ask someone to reveal their secret identity.
That's why I didn't want to name. I'm not, even if he did tell me who it was, I already told him that I would not ever reveal that. So I have no idea.
Let me just say, oh, the dog wants to talk. Let me just say,
hi, puppy.
The officers and greeters in our guild.
Yep.
Oh, he's really excited.
Mm-hmm.
Know everybody's names.
Well, that is 99% true. There are a few people who Zug invites personally.
So they have this quote-unquote spreadsheet that they use when people bring an alt in or whatever, and it's all very organized. Yeah. And if it's somebody that Zug invited personally, it's listed differently. Wow, that dog's making strange noises.
He has been known to
authority that there is multiple Blizzard employees that are in our like a lot.
Yeah. There's quite a few with us and AIE. They keep an eye. Like I've known, and you guys have known for a long time. They're in our. They've made no secret they are in the guild. They just don't say who they are. They're in AIE too. They keep an eye on the bigger guilds because if we get upset about something, there's enough of us to cause a major racket. And I'm sure there's more reasons than that, but that's one of them. Yeah.
I think it's cool that they choose to put their alts in. Like, I imagine if I would probably be in some unknown, lowly little teeny guild with 5 people online just because I don't.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool that they choose to be in there. And
yeah, apparently we have actual celebrities in the guild too, which, whatever. I'm cool with that. I don't need to know who everyone is on the other side.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of cool that you don't know who it is.
Yeah.
It makes it a better situation when it's a genuine experience, not a starstruck one.
Yeah, and that's what I was like. Even if I told someone, even if he told me who, if it was an actual Blizzard employee or not, I was like, I would never tell anyone because that would not be fair to the person. But because I had the opportunity to ask the question, I had to.
And the funny thing about Howland, this joke has been running for 3 years plus now at this point. So even if he, wanted to talk at this point, he probably won't because he doesn't want to screw up the mystique that is Howland.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like in my old guild, we had this rogue, and the rogue and I were super good friends. And we talked about girl stuff, we talked about music, we talked about everything. And the running joke was it was a girl who was not wanting to talk on mic. Oh, they were also a high school music teacher. Or not high school, it was college music teacher. And drama theater teacher. Turned out to be a dude. Yeah. After I found out he was a dude, we had nothing to talk about because then I felt weird talking about girl stuff with a dude who was comfortable talking about girl stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, as was pointed in the chat from Cinnamon, Jamie Lee Curtis was actually at BlizzCon.
Yeah, that's true.
And she was, she's one of those people who has to cosplay up. Otherwise, it's going to be, can I have your autograph every 2.5 seconds.
Did you also see the undead? Did you see that
I saw a
cosplay?
I saw the picture, and I was like, that looks really freaking... I think I passed her once, honestly. And there's so many people dressed up, you don't think nothing of it. So
that mask she was wearing, I believe it's one that was actually widely available a couple of years ago. Like you could get it at like Walmart and stuff. But she did it up with a lot more than just the mask. She had makeup on and everything else, so it would have looked a lot better than your ordinary trick-or-treater with it on.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many people that dressed up. I mean, the freaking Zerg Hydralisk was at BlizzCon. There was a guy who dressed up as Bumblebee skin Anubarak from Heroes. Obviously, the contest people who were in there, too. And there were just so many people that were actually dressed up, different levels. There was at least 5 Reapers. I got a picture taken with one. He was pointing his guns at me. I thought that'd be funny.
My favorite was Kel'Thuzad with the cat.
Yeah, he had little Mr. Bigglesworth with him. That was cool. I did see the Goran Kaz from Worgen's How. They stopped over at the Well Played party. And that's where she took the costume off, and she's freaking short. She's not hunched over in there. She's standing pretty much straight up inside that thing.
Then it's the perfect costume.
Yeah. I mean, I was personally hoping that one would win. I understand why the Raynor won, because it's made out of freaking leather, and that's not an easy thing to work with, and it looked like metal, and it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm expecting that to be a hero skin, because they said they were going to put it into a game somewhere. Yes, and Kaz is from our guild.
Oh, she's from CTR? Seriously?
They've got some tunes.
Cuddles actually interviewed her, and I believe it was her husband on his most recent one.
Yep.
Oh, I will have to check that out.
Yep. Yeah, good job, Cuddles. Also, good job with the Scott Johnson interview. Well played. That was cool.
Yep.
Speaking of Heroes Tournament, I'm sitting down. I don't have the best seats, but there's a seat next to me. It's the tech issues that took forever to fix, which I found out there was a sound issue where the teams were hearing each other. And on top of all of that rewiring that they had to do, there was an apparent infestation of ants.
Ooh.
So that needed fixed too. But Scott Johnson just walked up. Is the seat taken? I was like, nope. And I didn't recognize him right then and there. And he just plopped down, and I'm just kind of looking over. I was like, wait a minute, I know this guy. Holy crap, it's Scott Johnson. And in my head, I'm like, okay, just don't be like, dude, can I have a picture? And then I was like, I want to get a picture, but I don't want to be one of those guys. And then someone else was like, dude, you're Scott Johnson. Can I have a picture? And finally, I was like, okay, well, now I can do it because someone else asked first.
Now you're the guy who didn't recognize him, but just wanted to get a picture because somebody else did.
No,
that's not better.
I recognized him. It just not right at that second.
No, but that's what Theory's saying. He doesn't know that. He's the guy.
To Scott Johnson, you're the guy who didn't know who he was until the other person asked for a picture.
No,
so
I told him, I was like, I wasn't going to bother you, but yeah, that was cool. We sat there for like an hour, and he's texting back and forth because he's got tons of crap he's trying to do all weekend. I mean, he's like,
the whole show there.
Yeah, and he's like, this kind of sucks with this tech issue. This is like the 1 hour I had where I could just enjoy and tech issue. Yeah, but that was pretty cool. He unfortunately he got up and left before the matches started. And I'm not gonna lie, the highlight for me, since I didn't get to go see the StarCraft thing, I'm sad about that. But the highlight for me was the Heroes Tournament. I spent all day. That's where I was all day, because the line to get the Q&A had already started when I got there. Like, Red Shirt Guy was standing in front. So I was like, and they said, you're not going to get in. We're only doing a couple live people, and the rest are going to be questions. I was like, okay. So I was at the Heroes thing all freaking day. And all I'm going to say, Abathur first pick, Murky last pick. That semifinal match. That was like, that crowd roar was huge.
Yeah, for Murky, that was pretty.
Yeah.
I did watch that match.
That was, and people were like, yeah, and every time Murky killed someone, yeah, Murky died. Oh.
And it seemed like they pretty much whooped them in that fight too. They were up by 2.5 levels or something at one point.
The way that comp was set up, they knew they were going to fall behind, which they did, but they kept up. They were like, as long as we're within a level or two at 16, 17 when they get there, we're golden. But the fact that they actually kept up level per level, they just destroyed afterwards because everyone just powered up so much at that point. And I think his name's King Caffeine on Leoric. He knows when to let himself die. He's like, I think he's considered world's best Leoric at this point. Which, yeah. But yeah, that was definitely the highlight match of the highlight. I did check out the StarCraft arena the day before, so I at least got into that room. It just was nothing going on at the time. I wanted to make sure I got a picture, and I got over there afterwards. I was really upset that I didn't get to see it, but next year that's going to be the main thing. Yes, I'm planning on going next year, and I'm planning on probably going a day earlier, so Tuesday to Sunday or Monday.
So next year we need to strap a GoPro to your forehead.
Puppy!
Puppy did not like that idea.
The dog.
But yeah, there is people with costumes everywhere, statues everywhere. I sent Scarlett an Illidan one because I told her I would. There was Tyrael.
Illidan's awesome.
There was a really cool Gromov statue that I could not get a clear picture of because there were people around it all the time. So I didn't get a picture of that one, but the rest of them I got. They had this little signing areas where it was usually the sound and programmers, like the people you don't know who they are. Usually, they gave like the WoW people had a Legion poster they were signing. There was 4 or 5 of them. StarCraft had 4 or 5. It was a nice poster too. Overwatch. I really wanted the full-size poster, like the one Scarlett has behind her.
Like that one I got online.
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. They didn't have that in the store either, because I was going to have the Overwatch people sign that. And no. They had this little mini thing, and I'm like, oh, I'll take that. So while there was nothing like, why? At BlizzCon, there was a couple little disappointing things to me, which doesn't take away from BlizzCon whatsoever, but Reaper's face, and I couldn't get the full-size poster at Overwatch. Those are the 2 big negatives. And if those are the 2 big negatives, I would say it was a pretty good year. Pretty good time. Outside of the whole, I walked 45 miles over the weekend, and my legs took 3 days once I got home to be able to feel them again. But I will take that anytime. It was fun. Since we're talking BlizzCon, we mentioned tournaments. Last thing, SK Gaming beat out Skillcapped for WoW PvP, so good job to you guys. We've been talking about Abathur Murky from Cloud9. That was the semifinals. They went up against Team Dignitas, formerly known as Team Bob, which was an upset in itself that they were there. And 3-0'd from Cloud9. So congrats, Cloud9. I actually got to meet them afterwards. They had a little team photo and they signed that. So that was cool. And then
That is kind of cool.
It was Life versus who was last year's StarCraft champion versus SOS, who was the year before StarCraft champion in the finals. And SOS 7 games. It went literally back and forth. SOS Life, back and forth all the way to game 7. And there was no real... I watched the entire thing of them, and there was no really long match. It was all 15, 20 minutes and done, whereas I was expecting at least one to go about an hour. Speaking of an hour, yes, I know. We knew it was going to be a long show, guys. Yeah, so SOS, first time, 2-time champion for StarCraft, last Heart of the Swarm champion. So on to Legacy, which is out now. And I have a copy of the collector's edition. There's no mouse pad. I was kind of sad about that, but I knew that. But I got my WoW pet. I got my Diablo stuff. Got my hero's mount, the little glider guy, the hoverboard. So yeah, no regrets on that one. So Theory asked me the other day outside the show, why would I not be playing Overwatch beta when I have the beta? And the answer, sir, is because I've been a fan of StarCraft longer. And it was raid night that night. So I had to...
I can understand raid night. 24 other people were like, where the hell are you? I get that, but...
I play a DPS, not a healer or a tank, so I could, technically, if I wanted to, I could sit out.
I would still show up for raid night.
Oh, yeah,
but every other moment, unless I was motion sick, which is possible,
yeah,
I would be spending playing that game.
Yeah, well, in my case, I loaded up training. I went through the training first, and I was okay. Movement. I just got to get used to the controls. No problem. I load up a multiplayer, and I'm bad at first-person shooters.
So this is kind of the reason I don't really like a PvP-centric game being released to beta on a wide level. I mean, I know that this is a relatively small beta right now, but they are adding more people. You have people who are getting good in a brand new game before the game's out, which means it's that much harder for people who are fresh into it to get past the learning curve. Yeah, some of it's going to be the same as every other first-person shooter, but we have actually characters that do stuff that is not in any other game in this game. So we're giving people a head start at getting good at this game in a PvP game, which there's going to be rankings and contests and tournaments, and I'm not trying to say that I belong in any of those, but I don't really like the fact that people are able to kind of get this much of a head start.
Well, I know in my case, I will be the #1 ranked person as to why the heck is this guy in here? Because I think at this point, I've played 6 to 10 matches. I've been so busy with everything else that I haven't really had a chance to play it as much as I'd want to, on top of every other game. But so I've got 6 to 10 matches in. I'm averaging 1 to 2 kills and like 6 to 10 deaths. So,
which character are you mainly playing? Just your boy?
Come on now.
Have you played anything else besides your boy?
At BlizzCon, I tried a few. I tried Reinhardt, and I got the one map. And pro tip, guys: do not use the rush ability if there's no wall ahead of you, because you will keep going and fall off a cliff. And then you'll get disconnected out of the game and have to start over.
Oh.
Yeah. That was... So don't do that, guys. I have never done that in WoW. But Overwatch, I did it my first time playing.
I don't believe that you've never done that.
I've never used charge.
I don't either.
I've never charged a mob in...
Never run off a cliff and died in WoW.
I didn't say that. I said I've never charged forward and fell off the cliff. I've jumped off a cliff and, oh, I'm not on my paladin. Oh, I'm not on my mage. Oh, I'm not on a flying mount. Oh, crap. Or priest, I guess, could do it too. Or druid, but yeah. I've fallen off a cliff before. But I've never, like, rushed forward and... Yeah. Even the Demon Hunter, I didn't rush forward and fall off the cliff, but I could double jump and rush forward twice, so I could cover anything. Which, by the way,
I saw Towley fall off a cliff on a Demon Hunter.
Well, he was playing for the chat room, because I saw the interview he did afterwards. He was like, they said try to get on that rock, so I tried to get on that rock, and you can't. So yeah, I did mess with everything except for the Hearthstone stuff at BlizzCon for live stuff there. So yeah, I had tons of fun. You guys said you're gonna try to go next year. I highly recommend it.
Oh, I'm going. They're in no try. I already told the wife. I was like, I'm going. I'm going. The only way I'm not going is if they don't have one.
Yeah. Well, in that case, if we can manage, if we're all three for sure going, because I'm going to for sure go also, we can go together in getting the tickets, trying to get the tickets. And worst case, if, like in my case, I've got like 10 people I'm going to try to get tickets from. And then I'm going to do the same with them, obviously. But worst case, you can go and sell them face value if you're a nice guy, or you can go to eBay if you're not. And I would not recommend that because they're cracking down on that.
There's enough people in CTR that want tickets that you can get your money back if you buy too many.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's what I would, the three of us, I might try to get us press badges next year. But at the same time, if that's you guys' first time going, I'm kind of thinking we probably shouldn't. Only based on you're already going to be the holy crap, how do I get everywhere? And do everything. So, yeah.
We're fast learners.
Oh, you have no, have you been to a convention at all? I would imagine pretty much everyone but me has at this point.
Not a con, a gaming con, but I grew up going to certain large,
yeah,
like 100,000 people in it. So
yeah, well, this is nothing compared to that. It's only 25, which for me is a huge number because the most I've ever been around is like a couple, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 up until then. Outside of horrible work stuff and that.
So here's a question for you, just kind of as far as before we jump off the whole BlizzCon topic. Mm-hmm. It looked like from the videos that I've seen in last year, this year, a couple years beforehand, that most of the actual events have chairs. Is that true?
Like the tournaments and stuff? Is that where you?
Not just the tournaments, but like the opening.
Opening ceremonies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's chairs.
So it's like the one thing, like I'm not a super people phobic kind of person, but I'm not a real fan of shoulder to shoulder people standing on my butt and rubbing on the front. I'm not a fan of that. But
it's
I have my own
chairs.
chair. I really don't care, so I'd be cool with it.
It's chairs. What I will say, and I was actually kind of surprised at how many people stayed overnight to get in. Get there early on Friday, and by early, the doors opened at 9:30. I got there at 7, and I still had crap seats. But the main area up front is pretty much media pass, press pass people, that kind of thing. So they have the better seats and all that. And I just happened to, have one of those. Everyone will try to get through over top of you and all that fun stuff. So
yeah, I don't care so much about that.
Yeah.
As long as I got a place to call my area so people can just back up.
All the events will have chairs. That being said, the Heroes Tournament and StarCraft were so full that they actually put a broadcast in another area so people could sit down and not be in the way. I ended up, because I had gotten up to get something to eat, because I was like dying at that point because I hadn't had anything to eat or drink that day. I was literally standing the entire, other than the first match, the entire tournament. And I was trying to fight, people would get up and leave and all that fun stuff. And because I was actually by myself at that point, which always go in pairs, guys. That way if you need to save a seat, there's someone to save it for you. So I was standing the whole time. Every time a match would be over, people would get up and walk away, and I'd go looking for a seat, and everyone's like, no, it's saved. And then I'd find a nice little area to, in between matches, and people, when matches were getting ready to start, were like, yeah, you guys can't actually stand here. So you have to, go to the back. I'm like, oh, fine. So I moved. Yeah, you can't stand here either. You have to go to the back. So I ended up being all the way in the back, behind all the chairs. So there was standing room for that kind of thing. But yeah, it that part wasn't fun, but it was still great to be there and see it live and all that fun stuff. Like, I had a good view of the screens, I could see the players, and if I looked off to the right, I could see the casters. So, yeah. But yeah, I would recommend getting there early. Like, I was literally... You guys won't know, but anyone who's actually been there, I was literally like, I could sit down on the fountain from where my outside. I sat down on the outer ring around the fountain, and that's where I was. And you know, there was a few people I knew and would talk to. A couple guildies were there, and they came and talked to me, and we hung out for a bit. And then once it got started, the crowd just literally split you up unless you're literally holding on to them. So, fun times. Alrighty. Do you guys have anything else BlizzCon related that you want to talk about? We covered the tournaments briefly. All that fun stuff. Like I said, I had a blast, so if you guys are good... Alright, so if you guys are good, I say we go ahead and do some actual normal show stuff, which is talking about these particular games and what's coming up, and not reminiscing about how much we want to go back, or in their case, go next year to BlizzCon. I know. I'm just rubbing that salt in, right? So, that being said, game up first will be World of Warcraft, because that's what we do first. Yay! It's the game that's dying, but not.
What?
Everyone keeps saying it's always dying. That's all it was. Horrible, horrible.
They won't be able to say it anymore, though, because now they're not going to give us the numbers.
Oh, they'll still say it. They'll just make it up.
WoW lost 1 billion subscribers this month.
It never had 1 billion to begin with. Shut up. Alright, so this week we saw the class preview blogs. There's too much information to cover, so we'll just put the link. Just go to worldofwarcraft.com and you will see the class preview blog. I actually knew they were coming before they came out, because Zug, Pat Crane, and Celeste Alum were talking while I was standing there, and he's like, are we going to have like any news outside of BlizzCon? And Celeste is just kind of like, just wait. And he said, we have a couple blogs coming, and Zug's like, what?
Yeah, they took a literal dump on everybody.
Are these going to be like short, just overview blogs, or are they going to be like huge blogs? He's like, Celeste just kind of looked at me like, they're each about 30,000 words.
Yeah, we could do a half hour to an hour show on each of them, probably, and a couple of them will be longer. But hey, we've got Outlaws, which we didn't have Outlaws before.
Yep.
We've got the Melee Hunter, which we knew was going to happen. What was the other really good one?
All I know, because I haven't gone through all of them, I know Ret Paladins get Tyrael's Charge from Heroes, where you throw the sword down and you charge at it, which will be okay. They had to rename that because they originally called it Lothar, and he's a warrior.
He's a warrior, yeah.
So they had to change that. And outside of that, the only other thing that really stood out from what I've seen was Shadow Priests actually get their power from old gods.
Yeah, insanity.
That's kind of cool.
And the rogue changes. Combat's not combat anymore. And then
you can be a pirate apparently.
Yeah. Prot Pallies don't use holy power anymore, which is wow. Yeah, that's taking away a resource. So they're definitely doing some cool stuff, but a lot of it's like, how's that even going to work?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, Fire Mage, I know. Since I play Fire Mage, I looked at that one too. Ignite will actually spread every 2 seconds off of everything that has it. So that'll be fun.
DKs only have one kind of rune.
I love that.
I didn't think having the 3 kinds was hard. I've never thought it was hard. I don't understand that one whatsoever. I know Windwalker got way easier, dumbed down. It's been 2 expansions. They wanted it hard. But I don't understand the need for most of the changes that dumb down anything. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to go into all kinds of detail because it would take us 3 hours at least to cover half of them. So yeah, we're just touching the highlights. Go over to the site, check it out for yourself. Cool beans. Yep. They did announce the overall artifacts. I think they announced all of them over at BlizzCon. Haven't really looked at them. I know the daggers for the rogue are Garona's daggers that she used to kill King Lane, I guess. So Sadness and Anguish, or I think that's what they're called. And the only reason I know that is I checked out an article from Blizzard Watch. And she's like, I don't like the fact that these daggers are going to be the rogue thing, because that's just wrong. But yeah. Yeah. Fun times. Any other highlights you guys saw from the class previews?
There's a lot. I mean, we're not doing it justice. But yeah, exactly. It's literally it's worth reading. If it's a spec or class that you ever play, then you should read about it because it's a lot of changes, which it's pretty cool. I think the idea about strengthening the actual differences between the classes is something that's been needed. You know, people always talk about the homogenization of WoW, and this kind of says, no, none of that. Put that away.
Well,
so it's a good thing.
To me, all this stuff of making each class unique and special is just going back to like Wrath and Prior, where they actually were unique and special. This just seems like it's taking it to the next step because people are like, but I have all these people can do this too, and why do you need me then? Well, it was one of those things. I was like, personally, I'm on a crusade of getting paladins of all 3 specs a freaking battle res.
Why would you want a battle res for a paladin? They don't battle res, they mend.
Okay, why would Death Knights have a battle res? Obviously, you can bring them back from the dead.
Because we bring back the dead.
Raising them as a ghoul, which was much cooler, but difficult to actually do anything with.
Yeah.
I don't think Death Knights should have it either. I think it should be healing classes only that have it, personally.
Yeah.
But whatever.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where the ones that do have it, okay, fine, but paladins can actually res people. Everyone who reses someone should be able to have a battle res. Whether it's a good one to use or not is another story. Like Death Knights are great because it's freaking instantaneous, where some of the other ones have cast timers. So that's just my own personal opinion. Yeah, we covered that.
Excited for Guardian Druids, the new one. I actually may level my Druids still.
The new forms that go along with the new weapons for the Druids look amazing.
Oh yeah.
They also released a new look for the Boomkins.
I haven't seen that yet.
It looks good. It's very much a tribute to the old one, but with more polygons.
Yeah. Oh.
So it looks good.
Okay,
But they didn't really change it.
Yeah, I did see that one then. Yeah. The one thing that I saw, or more accurately didn't see, that stood out, nothing about tranquility, nothing about any of the major throughput healings from any of the specs that can do it. They absent. So I don't know if they're just not changing that and going with that, or maybe they're gone. Which, if they're gone, that would be kind of horrible.
I don't think they would get rid of all of those skills.
I don't think that these kind of guides, whatever you want to call them, that they put out are completely inclusive. For example, Death Knight tanks, a couple of different people made comments about how are they supposed to be able to get snap AoE threat because they took away the thing that gave them snap AoE threat. Basically, if you read what they wrote, and they came back and said, well, no, you still have Blood Boil. So Blood Boil will help you get AoE threat. It's going to help you spread your diseases and get a hold of everything. So, and they didn't say anything about Blood Boil at all in the class preview. So I think that even though it's not mentioned does not necessarily mean it's gone.
Yeah, to me, yeah, I remember that too, but it was just one of those things where maybe it's just these are the big changes. Everything else is kind of we're planning on keeping.
I think, yeah, I mean, if it's not there, it's either staying the same or it's gone, but they're not really telling us.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said multiple times, if you want to check out your class, your spec, head on over, check them out. Cool beans. It's Pet Battle Weekend. So now is a great time for anyone who went to BlizzCon or a virtual ticket to do the 5 pet battles and get your level 25 Mercadin. So, yeah. What?
My Mercadin can stay level 1. He's fine.
Yeah.
What? He's adorable. He has little demon wings. It's awesome.
I agree 100%. He's cool looking, but I don't need him to be 25.
Yeah.
He can stay level 1.
Or if you're like me, you'll power level either him or the StarCraft Collector's Edition pet. And then
I have the other one, Nibbles or whatever, too. The one from reserving, and he can stay level.
I have not done that yet. Several reasons. I'm waiting for money.
Likewise.
Okay, makes sense.
Friday coming, we'll both be buying them.
So, yeah, story for me, I'll just touch on BlizzCon. So, hey, tradition, we're going back to something prior. I had reserved a hotel room for the week over at the Annabella. My roommates that I had all set up all backed out on me, kind of last minute. So I had canceled the reservation and ended up having to stay with somebody else. Not a problem. I gave them the cash for it. Good to go. By the way, thank you. But I still got charged for a night at the Annabella. And because I never got any emails plus or minus for the room, there's nothing they're willing to do about it. So I got charged $160, which was actually less than the room would have costed, for a room I never stayed in that I didn't know I still apparently had, because I'd canceled it. So yeah, so fun. So that's why I didn't do any extra pre-ordering of anything. Otherwise, I'd be like, I would like the Legion pre-order collectors. I'd like the Overwatch collector's edition. Does Hearthstone have anything I can pre-order? Which, by the way, we'll get there in a minute. I was a little upset about that too. But that's another story. So yeah, Pet Battle Weekend. Level up them pets. 6.2.3. We got a little bit of information, such as it's coming out Tuesday. And yeah. So that means with Time Walking next week, people are going to be spamming the crap out of them because that's when the mount comes out. And I think we're getting Cataclysm. I think Cataclysm gets released. I don't think it's going to be the Cataclysm weekend.
They did say it is.
Oh, it is Cataclysm?
Yep.
Alright, so we're doing Cataclysm this week.
Yay! My favorite dungeons.
Oh.
Yeah, that comes out this weekend. Which, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday? It starts really, really quick. Yeah. And then we also have the Valor. So people who haven't been playing for months are probably going to be playing this weekend.
I really, really want to like the idea of the Valor. I really don't want to have to spend that much time in game. I want to play StarCraft. I want to play Overwatch. I want to play Hearthstone, Heroes. I want to play everything. Diablo's got some new stuff coming, but no one really cares about that game, so whatever.
Oh,
there's a lot of cool stuff coming.
Diablo.
Oh. But yeah, there's so much stuff in every other game that I want to play. I don't want to have to spend 24 freaking hours a day over in Warcraft trying to max out my Valor and chance at that mount that I'll never see because that's just how it works. So,
So yeah, back to this this patch. There's a lot of buffs for pretty much if you do damage, you get a buff.
Yeah, I heard Red Paladins get a buff.
Yeah, Paladins period get a buff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be able to push high 90s on my rankings instead of low 90s. Yay!
Well, you're ranking against other Paladins, so maybe not.
Well, yeah, but I'm ranking against other Paladins that ran it before the patch. So,
well, they're probably going to run it again.
Some will.
Yeah.
Don't rain on my parade. But yeah, same thing for Death Knights too. Scarlet, you're getting a 10% buff on most of your abilities.
I know. I loved it. Loved it.
Between that and the upgrades, I really think they're actually trying to make sure everyone can get that freaking moose mount.
I do think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't really looked at the 6.3 notes.
There's honestly not that much compared to a normal. It's just everything that's in there is big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of little changes. There's just like 5 or 6 big changes.
Yeah. And you do more damage, and you do more damage, and you do more damage. Everyone does more damage.
One thing that's kind of weird, being somebody who has way too many hundreds and has tried to gear them, the baleful item level boost is a little odd because you basically have a chance for a baleful item from Tanan to become Warforged, which you had before, and instead of 650, it would just be 675. But now what it's going to do is it's going to have a chance to be anywhere between 655 to 695. But it's harder for it to turn into a 695 than it is anything less. Like it's progressively harder to get the better gear. But you could already buy the upgrade for 20k Apexis to make it a 695. So I almost feel like they should make that one, make it a 700 or something a little bit better. Because why would you spend 20k Apexis on it now if you could just randomly get something pretty close to it?
I'm thinking that's going to be partially for like time. Like, oh, this is a 670. Oh, 20k Apexis, that's not a big deal. 695. Whereas you can go in and be like, ooh, this one is 695. Yes.
The problem with that is that it still takes about 3.5 to 4 days worth of Tanan dailies to get 20k Apexis.
Yeah.
For most people, it takes a week. But if you're really doing it, you could do it in 3.5 to 4 days. So that's an awful lot of grinding for one piece of gear. Like say you get a 690. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Are you going to spend 20k on 5 item levels on a piece of baleful gear that you're just going to replace?
I wouldn't.
So that's a little iffy.
I'm thinking it's mostly for like just to catch up, like another way to catch up easier. That's one less thing. Like if you get up to a 695, that's one less thing you have to actually try to upgrade.
I do get it, and I appreciate that. I just feel like they should have taken the 20k Apexis thing and bumped that one up too.
Maybe it's a stealth buff. Wouldn't be the first time they've done something like that.
That would be nice. Hopefully they're listening. So make that be 700 or 705 or something.
Yes.
But then they also have the improved loot from the dungeons. Mythic dungeon loot. It's got the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
So you can get anywhere between 685 to 725 in Mythic dungeons. So it's all about that gear. And then the item upgrades we talked about. Cross Realm Mythic, which I don't know if any of the three of us are going to be affected by that. Draven, maybe you.
Probably not this expansion. I've kind of.
I don't think I am.
Yeah, I've kind of taken a step back off of that. I'm just kind of doing the more casual thing this expansion. That being said, I am on 3 different raid teams.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Sure, and that's casual.
How far are you guys in heroic right now?
We got
Soccer down.
Yeah, Iskar
but-
I think we got Iskar once. Or no?
So maybe you guys are close. In a couple of months, you might be there.
Yeah, I mean,
we will. I think we will be.
We have another 8 months of the expansion. We'll probably hit some mythics.
That's a good point. With all these buffs and this Valor, yeah, you'll probably be there 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, a month maybe.
Yeah, let me tag along so I can get my moves.
Well, we'll see. We got anything else
That's
while
pretty
we're
much
later?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the patch notes.
Yeah. Alrighty, well then, I think it's time to let Scarlet have her day in the sun, and we will talk about Hearthstone. So, as per usual, new Tavern Brawl this week. This is one we've seen before, but it's still kind of cool. It's Ragnaros versus Nefarian. And that being said, what I'm going to say is, screw you, Ragnaros. I'm tired of playing on your side every single game. I have not gotten Nefarian once. I put 20 games in. Yeah. I've got some lines here that you need to read between, Theory. I've played 20 games. I've won a couple of them. Don't get me wrong. Rag is not impossible to win with. But I want to play as Nefarian too. I've not gotten him once.
Did they... I can't think of the word. I'm tired, people. Help me with words.
I don't know where you're going, so I can't...
They buff Ragnaros.
I don't think they did, honestly, but...
I remember him being harder to win with, but I've won a lot of my games with him as well.
Yeah, he is harder to win with. If you get the right cards early on, it makes it so much easier, but...
Well, he starts off with 1 mana, and the other one starts with 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're automatically at a disadvantage. Plus, he has 60 life or 50 life.
They both have 60 health. Just one is 30 health and 30 armor, and the other is 60 health.
Right.
So,
but I've won with Ragnaros way more. I won my 5 Tavern Brawls in a row quest with Ragnaros, and I got him 5 times in a row.
Yeah, so I got that quest too, and I kept getting Ragnaros. And because of that, I was like, you know what? Screw that quest. Switched it. Because I was not getting the cards that would make it easier to win. So I was like, no, screw that. I'm done. No, next. Win 3 with a priest for the same reward. Sure, I'll do that. But yeah, no. I'm just tired. I like the Tavern Brawl. I like the idea of it. I'm tired of being Ragnaros. So, Scarlet, have you played the new adventure yet? The League of Explorers?
I have. I got the normal wing done. I did the class challenges, and I beat 2 out of the 3 heroic. I'm still trying to beat the last one on heroic, which is a...
Alright, so what class challenges did they unlock this week?
It was Warlock and... Yeah, hold on.
And this is where we would get the Jeopardy theme, people.
Oh, Warlock and Warrior. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, I have not unlocked it yet because, you know, money. And not having any at the moment.
So
I had 700 gold.
I don't have gold.
Flip that and save that and play it every raid night.
Okay. That's fine. I don't care.
That's awesome.
So, what was the Warlock class challenge? And I'm seriously asking because I do not know.
Against Sunraider Ferrix or
Okay, well, usually the class challenge has some weird mechanic, like mages had portals, hunters had spiders. What are you doing? Is there anything weird for the warlock one?
I'm waiting for it to load because I really forget.
First one was better.
I was continuing.
No, it doesn't have any weird mechanic other than what the boss's mechanic already is.
Okay. Does the warrior have a weird mechanic?
It was also just what the...
Okay. Alright, that's fine. For the actual adventure itself, what was... Usually when you beat it on normal, you get a card.
Yep.
What's this card? I've heard about it.
Jackson.
Reno Jackson. What does he do? Because I've heard that he is like a face hunter nightmare.
So what he does is if you have no duplicates in your deck, he will heal your hero back to full health.
Wow.
So people have been making decks with no duplicate cards in them, and then they can play Reno whenever they need to and heal back up to full. So a hunter just burns you down, leaves you on 1 or 2 health, and then suddenly you're full again and they have no burn left. I was watching Savitz make a Warlock Reno Jackson deck. It looked so fun.
Yeah.
And it was pretty badass. So
yeah,
Jackson's pretty cool.
Yeah, I heard it was a nightmare for bursty type decks. Where, how much mana does he cost?
Yeah, because I haven't used him. He's only 6 mana.
So as long as you can survive that far and hopefully have him in your hand at that point, you can kind of, yeah, I could see why that would make Face Hunter, Murloc, Paladin, anything Murloc kind of cry.
Yep.
Pretty much the zoo decks. I could see why that would make him cry. Just survive that far and hope you have it. So yeah, I will be getting I'll be paying the $20 on Thursday and getting the whole thing. It won't all unlock right then, obviously, but I'll get the whole thing and I'll catch up to your 2 heroic, and at that point you'll probably have that one cleared and the next one started at the very least.
Well, it opens Thursdays. Oh no, I won't, because I won't have the 700 gold. And
alrighty. Well, do we have anything Hearthstone else? Because that's really the big news out of all of them. I mean, we could talk about the Golden Monkey and how it turns every one of your cards legendary if you get it.
Rule number 1 of the Golden Monkey is you don't talk about the Golden Monkey.
Golden Monkey, Golden Monkey, Golden Monkey.
Because you'll never get it in your hand before you're dead.
Probably, yeah. And even if you do it, you have to play one person, and then you have to play the map, and then you have to hope for the Golden Monkey. So by the time you get it, you probably have like 1 card left.
Yep. So to follow tradition, I actually just pulled up the Warcraft cinematic they were talking about earlier, because one of the people that was in our chat room said that his shoulders were falling off in the water, and guess what? They were right. His shoulders are falling off as he's sinking in the water. So that only leads me to wonder how he got from the deep end of the pool to the shallow end of the pool in split seconds.
He used that wolf rage of his, and I don't know, but it sounded cool when I started that thought.
You know, but yeah, the shoulders conspiracy has been solved.
Yay!
Thanks,
Thank
Rand,
you.
person in our chat room.
Thank you, person. All right. So, tradition number 2, go back again. Okay, cool. There's some StarCraft stuff. Obviously, it's just that Legacy came out. I've been playing it. I actually, because of how I play it, I go for every single achievement as I go. So I've only actually done the 3 prequel missions. But I have all the achievements, including the one hidden one, which I was okay. So, yeah. Alrighty, well then. I think we need to talk about some heroes. Because I like talking about heroes. And I know you guys don't, but I like it anyway, so we're doing it, dang it. So yes, Heroes of the Storm, yay!
Heroes of the Storm.
So I know we talked about it earlier, but I love being in the crowd for that tournament. That if you have never, like, if you're a sports fan and you go to see the professionals, I'm not trying to rub salt. I swear. I'm just saying if you like going to see live basketball, baseball, whatever your thing is live, it's the same thing. Only it's obviously computer game. But the energy is just huge. And you can actually hear the casters in the crowd. As opposed to when you watch it live, you don't. For, like, real sport. Regular sports. So, there's that. I consider that to be a plus. But yeah. It was amazing. I highly recommend if you have a chance doing that. So, as we normally do, we're going to do it out of order this week, apparently, because I didn't click this ahead of time. On sale this week, we have Sonya at $3.25. I round up, as you guys know. Wrath Armor Sonya skin at $3.75. Insectoid Zagara skin at $3.75. That being said, next week they are doing the skins off of Cloud9, and it is going to be global. So you're going to get Easter Murky and stuff like that. They're going on sale. The heroes like Murky will be free and that kind of thing. So, but free this week. Aw, poor Chen. Poor Chen. I'm sure he feels bad because he lost to a Murloc. Chen for free, Malfurion for free, Thrall for free, Tyrael and Vala both for free, Sergeant Hammer if you're level 12, and the Medic, Lieutenant Morales, if you're level 15. So, yeah. I still don't like Chen. I don't understand why anyone would ever pick him. Hint, hint, Team DK. I don't see a point to him. I don't like how he plays. I don't like him. Clearly. Yeah. And then BlizzCon opening ceremonies. Greymane got revealed, who is both range and melee, both separate times. Lunara is her name, little dryad pixie type person who is freaking annoying when you play against. I got to play against her. But the big reveal, 2 players, 1 hero, which means you will have 4 heroes out on the field instead of 5. Cho'Gall. 1 person drives and is a tank, the other person is the other head and does the magic damage. I tried so hard to get to play him, but every time I got in, I was added to someone else's game. So I literally got to play like the Butcher and people I already knew. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, he's tons of fun. If you play, like, since we all had the virtual ticket or went, we all have him in our thing if you guys would ever load the game. If we play 2 games with someone, we have to be on a team with them, like ahead of time, an actual party. I pick Cho'Gall, someone else can pick Cho'Gall if they don't have him. 2 games, they get Cho'Gall. If I do 2 more games with someone, they get him, and I get like 2,500 gold or something like that. So it's a nice chunk. There's the new arena, which I know you guys don't play Heroes. Even you guys had to think that was hysterical, that cinematic that they gave for the arena.
It was funny.
The 10 Illidan's.
Yeah.
I'm sure Scarlett was over there just like,
it.
oh god.
I
wish I would have told you to watch that, because you would be like in fangirl mode. Like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Because it's 10 Illidan's and you're like in love with Illidan already.
But they weren't all blue.
It doesn't matter, it's Illidan. She's in love with Illidan, I don't care. There was another map. Arena's going to be a while. They've already said that. That's not the next thing. There was another map called Towers of Doom, which has the Headless Horseman as one of the bosses. And it has the weirdest mechanic I've ever seen in terms of killing the enemy team, which is you can't do it directly. You have to actually control bases, and whenever a timer goes off, they fire. It's weird.
Yeah, it's kill the core indirectly. Kill the core by controlling the rest of the map, which actually is kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the idea. I just the one time I played that map, my team was not very smart and did not understand this. They're like, "Why is this core killing me?" Because you're running at it. Were you not paying attention? So yeah.
Yep.
They did indirectly announce another hero at another panel. They never specifically said that he was coming, but they said they were working on him, and that is Gul'dan. So a warlock will be coming soon at TM. So yeah. Other than that, you know, they're still looking at heroes and all that. They're increasing from 7 free heroes to 10, so you have more heroes to play with. All that fun stuff if you don't have them all already. Other than that, there's the tournament, Cloud9 won. Scarlett, you actually picked them to win.
Yep.
I picked Na'Vi, who didn't even see the finals. And Theory,
although to be fair, I just picked them because of the name.
Yeah. I don't remember who you picked, Theory, but
if I made a guess, it was Cloud9. It was only because that was only the one team that I knew that was in it.
Yeah. So yeah.
In all honesty, I paid way more attention to it than I thought I was going to, though.
Yeah.
And it made me understand the game better watching the tournaments.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I really didn't know jack crap before the start of the tournament.
Yeah. That tournament, man. That was for me the highlight. I didn't get to see the StarCraft one, obviously. That might have been the highlight, but that Abathur Murky, that was the highlight of BlizzCon, and everyone that was there says the same thing. All right.
Cuddle says he picked Cloud9 too.
Oh.
Yay! Picking winners.
Yep. All right. I'm going to add the Overwatch bumper in later because I don't have it ready to go because I missed it somewhere. So, fail number 89. I'm just adding them in randomly now. I don't know where I'm at. So, Overwatch, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the Origins Edition they announced. PlayStation.
Wait a second. I'm confused by something.
Yes.
Like, isn't Tracer going to be a hero in Heroes 2?
Yes, but in order to get her, the reason I moved on to Overwatch was because of Tracer, actually.
Good.
Tracer will be available in Heroes via the Origins Edition in Overwatch.
Okay.
Which will be Xbox One, PS4, or PC. They've already said they are not having PC versus PlayStation or Xbox versus PlayStation. It is that format versus that format.
Yep.
So, cool. You get some skins like that, and if you pre-order, I think it's Origins. It might be the collectors. I'm fuzzy on this one. There's a Widowmaker skin. I think it's Origins if you pre-order it. But yeah, you get a few different skins. Tracer Slipstream skin, Reaper's pre-mask skin.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
I'm so happy with that.
So good.
I'm so happy about seeing his face. Soldier 76, his Lieutenant whatever Morrison skin, like him younger, and then Overgrown Bastion, which, okay, and then
with grass.
Yeah, there's a couple others, but those are the main ones. They gave a price. Yeah, they gave a price point. If you get the big collector's edition, it's regular game with Origins and a statue and some other cool stuff. Yeah, I'll be getting the collector's edition. Because that's what I do. I have nowhere to put this stuff, but I'll get it anyway. They officially announced, since Diva has been kind of quote-unquote data mined for a while, 3 new heroes. You got Diva, you got, is it May or Mai? I think it's May. M-E-I? Your mouth moved, Scarlett. No one heard you.
I think it's May.
Yeah. She's like a freezy...
Yeah, she's the frost mage.
She's a frost mage, only she uses a gun to do the freezing.
She's like a frost mage with the Silver Surfer combined.
Yeah.
Yep.
Diva is the StarCraft person who has that mech thing that she can jump in and out of.
So I want a Diva skin that is a dude with a mech that doesn't look like a little toy.
I'm sure. Well,
because I love the idea of Diva, but I really don't like the way she looks.
Yeah, I would imagine if they can get away with it, they'll probably, like, not necessarily Voltron or anything like that, but some more masculine type skin. Whether or not it's her or included with that skin.
The thing of Diva herself, I don't mind. It's cool.
Yeah.
The idea, the pro gamer, I like it. The way she talks, it's cool. I just don't like the mech. The mech is like really weird looking, and it's like bright pink.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not liking the mech, but the way she works sounds awesome.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to play her. I literally, when I played Overwatch, I tried Reaper first, obviously.
Yeah, there's this thing called beta that you have, the rest of us don't. You could probably do it in there. I'm just saying.
No, they're not in the beta.
What? I thought they were supposed to be in this week. Is it not yet?
They might be. It might be this Tuesday, but they weren't there last I looked. Or if they are there, I haven't noticed. I've literally been like, Reaper's right there. Yeah, you pay for the box, and then you get 21 heroes, all the maps that are out. They'll more than likely have some kind of DLC later on. More skins and stuff. It's probably going to be a combination of DLC and microtransaction for skins and stuff. That seems most logical. Do you guys remember how much the game itself was?
Yes. For PS3 and Xbox, it's $59.99. For the Origin Edition on PC, it's also $59.99. If you're getting the regular version, you save $20 on PC. There's also going to be a collector's for PC, which is not available to pre-order yet.
Nope. And I do know that is $120.
And it looks cool, but I'm okay with the digital, so that's what I bought.
Yeah. I want the statue. And speaking of statue, I saw the uncolored. I sent you guys a picture, I believe, of the Reaper statue. They had it there. It was still uncolored. I took like it was in a thing. It was spinning around, so I took a whole lot of pictures of it. It looks amazing, and I can't wait until it's on pre-order because I will buy it that day. I have no idea where I'm going to put it, but I'm getting it, even if I know what he looks like underneath.
Put it right there on my bookshelf. I'll keep it for you.
I bet you would, and you know what? That's not going to happen.
This thought just popped into my head. This is another going back in the show thing.
Yay. It's been a couple weeks. We can do it.
They had the 360 camera thing there, right?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so you should have got that guy that was dressed as Reaper to let you play with his guns and do a 360 video of yourself.
Oh, yeah, that would have been cool.
If I was going to do that, I would have had him in the picture with me, but they would not allow that. It was
really?
It was one person. They could only do one because of the way where the cameras were located. If you had more than one person, it would throw off the cameras.
See, Ghosty and Preach did one together like last year or 2 years ago.
I think it's new.
That's the beginning of their drama show. It's part of their intro.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean...
But they may have changed it since then. It might be smaller.
I do know, from what I'm told, because I just literally walked by it, I had no interest in getting my picture taken through that. Mike Shaftnet was the one who was in charge of that over there. And had I known that, I would have gone through and done it, because... And this is also going back, but there's this thing, I don't know if you guys remember who he is, but he was kind of made sort of famous-ish from lore, named Zista. And every Thursday night, I thought it was Friday night late, but it was Thursday, he goes to Denny's for quote-unquote ZistaCon. I went. Mike Shaftnet was there. He probably doesn't remember a whole lot of it, but he was there. I may have lived up to a promise made a long time ago. I bought him a piece of cheesecake. For those of you who don't know, Mike Shaftnet does not like cheesecake. He did not like it. He thought it was hysterical, and he blamed Zista for it for 10 minutes until I said, no, that was me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, I had to do it, man. I won't do it again ever till next year. But it was just one of those things where I had to do it. And then I got the server over at Denny's. Instead of the regular size plate that they usually give the cheesecake on, I got this big, huge honking plate. Put the cheesecake on one side, and then I got hashtag Team Cheesecake written in like topping on the side, and it was everyone except for Shaftnet busted up laughing right off the bat. And he eventually said that was really funny.
I just have a question.
Yes.
How can you not like cheesecake?
Some people don't like it. I mean, I personally, I only like chocolate cheesecake. I don't really care for any other flavor of it. Cheese is a... Okay, I'm just saying that's a personal thing. He doesn't like cheesecake. That's fine. You know, it was just one of those gags that from his time over at Legendary and After Dark at Game Breaker, all that fun stuff, there was a group of us that would troll him in chat with Team Cheesecake, and I had to. That was like, if I would have gone to BlizzCon any other year prior to, I would have done it then. But this is the first time I had the chance to do it. I had to do it. Kind of like walking up to Celeston. So we have this guy in our raid named Holland. Do you know who that is? And, you know, it was one of those things, even if I didn't get an answer or did get an answer and can't tell, it's just one of those things where you have that opportunity, how can you pass it up? So, but yeah. Another person I didn't mention, Bajira was, obviously he was out there for the WoW stuff. I got my picture taken with him. That was cool. A whole lot of the CTR people, but yeah. Great times. You guys
I've derailed completely.
Huh?
I've derailed you completely.
Since when is that new? All right. So I think that's about everything in terms of actual game stuff. Scarlett, did you want to do this question, or is it just really something that, doesn't really need? It's up to you guys.
Basically, we had a question from Alessander that was basically saying in the intro for Legion that we saw like 4 major players. We saw Stormwind, Sylvanas, someone who looks like Thrall, and I think Anduin. So are we thinking that these people are going to die, or what do we think about it?
Yeah.
Honestly...
Go ahead.
No, continue. What were you going to say? What is...
Well, I was going to say, honestly, out of all the ones that you named, we know Sylvanas is not going to die, at least not right away. Because they said she's going to be a major story arc in the expansion.
Right.
And I seriously doubt they're going to kill off Anduin, because he's supposed to be the leader of the Army of Light or whatever, unless they completely retconned that and didn't tell us.
Well, I think what she's saying is those people were in the picture and are the ones that are missing from the picture, the ones that are probably going to die.
Oh. Yeah. Honestly, we've already covered who we think's going to die multiple times. He didn't die in the cinematic. I still think Varian's getting taken out. Thrall, I think, is getting taken out, or his family's getting taken out. Tyrion, I'm really hoping the statue in Dalaran falls on him, because that would just be amazing to me. And I really is War Chief Vol'jin in the chat room?
No, he's not.
Not tonight, I think.
All right. Well, in that case, I think there's a good chance he's going to get taken out before he does anything huge. I hope that's not the case, but they've said that they're going to shock us and all that. So I'm thinking, and they said a lot of people are going to die. So
the way I think about it is that you look at the characters that they either haven't told a story about, and are those characters ones that they're going to tell a story about, or ones that they don't feel like there's enough story there to keep around. There'll probably be a couple that are shocking, but I think there'll also be some just kind of cleanup for story's sake on that. Like Trade Prince. After you get off the island, nobody gives 2 shits about Trade Prince anymore.
Nobody cared about him on the island either.
Not really either. So like that's a lore character that really nobody really cares about, including the goblins. So if they offed him, I don't think that would be shocking.
Yeah.
And he has no storyline either. But at the same time, why do they need to keep him around? So honestly, it could be. I think Alessander might be on the right track here. The one thing that I think is kind of funny is that Vol'jin wasn't there. I think Vol'jin had a pretty good part of the storyline, and unless they're doing a tit for tat thing, Alliance and Horde, you're going to take out Varian, so you're also going to take out Vol'jin. I don't really understand why they would take Vol'jin out. He doesn't have a weapon, as far as I know, that would be considered one of the ones that is going to be used.
Well, we don't even have to kill people for that reason. They could just die. They could just be killed. We're just going by what we know with the weapons now, like Tyrion and Thrall. We're getting their weapons.
So Tyrion and Thrall both make sense from that standpoint. But to me, Vol'jin doesn't make sense from a story standpoint unless he is the shock character. You know what I mean? Like Varian and Vol'jin could be the shock characters if that's what they were going for.
Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked by Varian at all.
Well, based on the video, not at all. I don't think
even before that, I had predicted Varian was going to die before that.
Well, true, because it kind of made sense because you had Anduin, who was kind of coming of age, so it made sense for him to something to happen with him.
Yeah.
But the other thing that kind of shocked me is I did not expect Sylvanas to go anywhere. It kind of seems like she's going to become a much larger piece of the pie after some of the Q&As.
Yeah.
So
the big shockers that I would be kind of shocked if they killed off. Bane is on the list that I would be kind of shocked if they killed him. But they just killed his dad like a couple years ago, so I don't know that they'd go that far.
But there's not really another Tauren lore character of any
major
real value, is there?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm speaking as an Alliance person mainly, so I don't know as much about the Horde characters as I'm sure a lot of other people do. But
yeah, I mean, there's
from
some...
our point of view, it's pretty easy to know which ones are important to the lore.
Yeah, I mean, there's some Taurens out there that I would say lore-wise are important, but in-game-wise, not even a little bit. Outside of Bane. But, yeah, if they're going to shock people... I mean, it won't shock us with Thrall, but a lot of people would probably be shocked by it, even though we are getting the weapon. If they killed him and not just him handing it over, be like, dude, your turn. I'm done.
And what did you think about them hinting that... I want to say it was Bolvar?
He's got a cameo.
So that's kind of a strange thing.
I mean, we've mentioned it a few times. Wouldn't it be cool if he showed up at the end and he was the one who saved the day?
But then my thought is also some of these lore characters that are dying could then become part of the Lich King's army.
Or Sylvanas' army.
That's interesting.
Or Sylvanas as the Lich King's army.
Whether she's Lich King, Lich Queen, however you want to call her, or not.
She kind of already, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Bolvar shows up, he's going to put her in her place and be like, dude, no, chill.
Maybe. He may be like, she's dead, so I'm resing her again, and now she's one of mine.
Well, I mean, I would imagine if he really wants to, he could probably enslave her again. I don't know, but...
Yeah.
But, I mean, as long as she stays out of the way or is helping, I don't see why you would. He's supposed to be a good guy.
Yeah, but he's also a good guy that's been under the helmet in the ice for how long? So how cuckoo is his Cocoa Puffs at this point?
Yeah, so who knows there. But
they got a lot of cool stuff they could do. There's like pretty much open-ended storybook. They could go all kinds of ways. And could this be foreshadowing to answer her question? I think it could be, but there's really no way to know right now.
Yeah. I would imagine...
We'll find out.
Yeah. I would imagine within a patch or two, if everyone hasn't already been killed, we'll have a pretty good idea of what's coming. Because usually, like with Wrath, we knew we were going to ICC at some point. And by that time, we'd already kind of seen what's his name, son, die. We didn't know we were going to fight him at the time, but we saw him die.
Wrath. What are you talking about?
The Wrathgate, yeah. Sourfang, yeah. That happened. With Kata, we knew Deathwing didn't really have any major characters die. I mean, Thrall got torn into pieces, kind of. But we put them back together, it's okay. We had the super glue. With Miss, it was Garrosh. Again, there wasn't really a major lore character outside of Nazgrim, I think. Would be the closest to a major lore character that died. Outside of Garrosh, who didn't actually die that expansion. This expansion, pretty much all the warlords except for Grommash died. And fairly early on in the expansion, we were just taking them out left and right.
Yeah, in the quests.
Yeah, quest line. Here's a 5-man dungeon. Go ahead and kill him. But, yeah. So this will be the first time we get some actual lore characters dying, and I don't know who would be the shocking one. I mean, with Bane, there's Vol'jin. Outside of that, I don't know who would actually be considered shocking at this point.
Based on what they said about Sylvanas and how she's supposed to be playing a major role in this one, I would have said Sylvanas, because people would be pissed if Sylvanas was done.
Unless
would be angry.
I don't see that would be shocking to me if it was happening early on, but if it's gonna be like her story arc through, from what I'm seeing and what I read about it, she might die towards the end. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either.
Here's a thought.
Yeah, Scarlet.
What if What if, so in War Crimes, Sylvanas was thinking about turning her sister into a lich. Or not a lich, but a banshee. So what if Illyria somehow gets turned into a dead person? Maybe they're continuing with that storyline?
Well, first, Illyria wasn't in the book.
Or Valera. Sorry, yeah. Valera.
I have a feeling with Illyria and Turalon, or however you say their names, they are not going to be happy to see Sylvanas at all, whether related or not, because she's technically undead, and last time they saw undead, they were trying to take over their house. So I have a feeling there's going to be some shots fired, literally. Like she's not going to be. She's like, no, you're dead. Get away from me. No, it's okay. I'm not an evil undead. I'm not an evil zombie. I swear. I only eat the brains of people who aren't using them. But yeah, in terms of that, I really wouldn't be surprised to see Illyria and Turalyon die. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
How shocking is that? They haven't been in the game for how long? And
that's why I think they might consider it to be shocking. Like, not right off the bat, they're not going to die, but I think, like, to us it won't be, because we've been speculating who's going to die for a while. You get the average person who isn't, like, trying to actually think up scenarios of, like, statues falling on Tyrion. Please, Blizz. Please. I will give you all of the money. Just please. But, yeah, the normal player, outside of the, say, 5% of people who actually pay attention to that, you know, dig up information, they're going to be, they could be shocked by pretty much anybody at this point. But when they say shocking, I took it as them kind of shocking at us. The people who are actually paying attention, trying to figure it out. And the more I think about it, Bane and Vol'jin are really about it.
We'll find out.
I mean, I see no way of them doing Sylvanas ever, killing her off, because that'll just kick the crap out of their sub numbers. Too many teenagers and early 20s have a crush on her.
I would like to see the Council of Hammers, all three die, and Mr. Frozen in Diamonds coming back alive.
That would be cool.
As long as... Get rid of the Dwarf Hammer Council people. The Legion smashes that statue, which is him, crystallized, diamond, whatever. They smash that, so he's killed. That would be kind of shocking. Lothramar, Blood Elf guy, that might... I don't know if that would be shocking, but... he would make a rather attractive corpse. Well, that's what Sylvanas said.
Oh, too creepy.
That's what Sylvanas said. Alright. So, we've covered that. So yay, thank you for the question, Alexander. I think we talked that one to death and then some. And then back to life, and then bit to death, and then back to life. We rezzed it a few times. It's a good thing we have a druid and a death knight, because paladins can't battle waves. Alright, so feedback. That was our feedback. We love getting feedback. Leave us a comment over on Twitter, YouTube, over on our site, theepicfailpodcast.com. So let's go ahead and do some shout-outs, I think. As always, I'm going to let you guys go first, but that's because I have some specific ones in mind yet again. So, Scarlett, your shout-outs for the week, or 2 weeks, since we haven't had a show in a while.
So, shout-out to my coworker who just came back to the game. Yay, welcome back. And... oh! Shout out to random dude at McDonald's. So I went to McDonald's yesterday, and the dude at the cash was baby-faced. Anyways, I've seen him before, but he was looking at me like I had two heads, and I was like, what? And then he's like, you play Warcraft? And I realized I had my BlizzCon bag on, so I'm like, yes. So then he was like super hyper, and he's like, me too. And then he's like, I'm reading Arthas' book, and I'm in love with it. So then we talked about Warcraft, and he was really polite and nice and all that. So shout out to that dude. And my coworker, yeah, that's my shout outs for this week.
Alright. I honestly thought for a second you were going to say, do you play Warcraft? Are you on that podcast? I thought that's where that was going, and then you're like, but I totally had my BlizzCon bag. Alright, so Theory, any shout-outs from you?
Yes, but the dog's probably going to talk during them. A couple quick ones. Cuddles, of course. Great job again with the party. Commentating, interviewing, all that was really good. Hello, dog. And other than that, everybody that was involved with that party, he's ready to go.
The dog is giving his shout-outs too. It's cute.
He has a couple of his own. So that's pretty much it.
Alright. As for me, I did say I had some special shout-outs this week. Marconin, Jules, Cuddles, and everyone else out at BlizzCon who took the time to make sure I was okay dealing with people, because that's a lot of people and I don't deal well with people. I did mostly okay, but for those of you who took the time out to make sure I was okay, thank you. Outside of that, everyone involved with BlizzCon, whether you were there, virtual ticket, there you go. But yeah, I will give a specific shout out to one dev in particular, and that is Celestalon. He's the guy I had the, well, I'll give two actually now that I'm thinking about it. I had the longest conversation outside of like guilty, like normal, like, I hate calling them normal people. Outside of he's the dev I had the most interaction with while I was there, and having a good sense of humor about my question about Howlin', thank you. And then obviously Ian Watcher for not freaking out whenever I told him what I was asked to do for Fist over at Lagging Balls. So yeah, those are going to be my shout-outs. Pretty much anyone Blizzard, those specific people, and then those two devs in particular for being cool. Alright, so that is a show, and Theory, your internet's cool this week, so I know that you'll be able to do the contact information for us. So that's always nice to know. So why don't we go ahead and get you to do that?
So at Epic Fail Podcast, we do love it when you contact us. So here's the ways that you can do that. We are at www.epicfailpodcast.com. On Facebook, you can find us at /podcastepicfail. Twitter is at podcastepicfail. You can follow Draven at Draven Dresden on Twitter. You can follow Scarlett at Scarlett_CTR. And you can follow me, Theory, at Gank Theory, also on Twitter. Don't forget, you can find our podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. We look forward to hearing from you.
So yeah, that would appear to be our really long show. Really, really long. We knew it was going to be long, but holy cow, it's long. So, does anybody have any last words? Because I'm still refusing to do that again.
Alliance Roar? No.
No.
Arr.
Yeah. Only if you sign a nipple with RAR, then you can go RAR. Thank you, Celeste Luna. I'm going to be using that forever. That joke will never get old. So, since I am a horrible person, and while Metzen was up on the stage after the movie cinematic, not the movie, the game cinematic for WoW, he's like, everyone with me for Azeroth! And I didn't do it then. I'm going to do it now. For the Legion!
Hello, mother.
You know, the world could always use more heroes.